Hi everyone, I'm Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, just so you know, I make a lot of videos about books, some about homeschool, and sometimes some about homesteading, and mainly like when my goats are giving birth and things like that. But welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you aren't, thank you so much for sticking around and watching and commenting, because I really do appreciate it. I know I'm not the most regular poster on YouTube. I just kind of do it when I can, and whenever I feel like I have a subject that I want to speak on, because a lot of times, I just run out of ideas, and I don't want to just make videos just to throw something out there every week. I want something that I feel like I want to share and I feel passionate about, and I feel like that will come through in my videos more than if I was just making a video just to say, hey, here's a video once a week, because I feel like I need to put something out there. So that was a long introduction, but this video today is going to be the manipulatives that I really like using with our math. If you've stuck around for a while, you probably have heard me mention Right Start, and a lot of the manipulatives that I am going to show you today are from Right Start. If not, maybe all of them are. But that isn't to say that you need to use Right Start math curriculum. I personally do, although I have incorporated others, but I love the manipulatives. I think that is almost, if not the best thing, at least one of the best things about the Right Start curriculum and company is they do have really high quality and good, varied math manipulatives that are really versatile, which you can use with pretty much any curriculum, I feel like. But I'm just going to get into this and show you some of the favorite ones I have. It's not going to be all the manipulatives, but it's the ones that we use the most and I feel like have the most value to us, and ones that I feel like would be valuable to a lot of people, no matter what curriculum you're using. So now I'm just going to flip this camera around and show you some of our favorites. Alright, so you'll just have to forgive me of the table with the paint marks and stuff on it. This is our dining table, and it also serves as our homeschool and art table, and this is just life lived. These are all stains, so if those are a distraction to you, I'm sorry. But to get started, this is probably our most valuable and most used resource. No matter what curriculum you use, I really think that an abacus is just invaluable for anyone to use. It is so versatile. We use this, I mean, definitely in the first couple grades or levels or whatever, we use this thing every single day. My 10-year-old still uses this, sometimes under complaint or duress, but I do have her take it out and use it because it's just such a good visual. And this is the Right Start abacus that we have here. Although any abacus would probably be fine, this is just the one we use. And the reason I love this so much is because there's 100 beads on this, but it breaks it up in color codes to really help give kids a visual, because you have the 10 beads here and it's broken up by 5s, but then once you get past the first 5s, it switches the colors to this side to kind of give your kid a clue, so that they don't always just have to count. Once they get used to this, it's really just a good visual cue that once the color switches, we automatically know this is 50 or 5 10s. This is the other 5 10s. Just helps their mental math. So flipping to the other side, this becomes really useful too. And see how faded it is? This is how much we've used it. And this is just like 3 years of use. It's just a well-loved piece. I'm probably going to have to buy another one when my youngest is ready for school. But so you flip it around to this other side, and it's used this way. When you flip it around, you do vertical. And sorry I can't fit all this in the frame at once. But you have thousands, 110, 1, and you use this for more advanced problems where you're counting higher numbers. And I just love the methods that the Right Start curriculum has shown us how to use this. I love the methodology of it all. This is not how I learned how to do math, but I think it's invaluable. I love the way it teaches it. I love the visual aspect of it and the mental math that it encourages. So I'm going to stop going on and on about this Abacus and show you something else. But again, I love it so much. So this is another manipulative that we use a ton. This is, again, a Right Start math clock. It came with the whole kit, which is rather pricey. I think I forgot to mention that in the introduction. The Right Start Math Manipulatives kit is pretty pricey. So you could probably buy a lot of this stuff used or piecemeal it or get similar products, but not the exact, same thing, but similar concept and same use. You could probably get it all for cheaper. I just got it all at once when we first started homeschooling. And again, this is stuff that you will use almost throughout your whole schooling experience, and especially if you have multiple kids. But this is a nice little clock. What I love about this is that it's color-coded so that the minute hand is a different color than the hour hand. And also the hour numbers correlate with the hour hand, while the minute numbers correlate with the minute hand. And again, visual cues that really help kids catch on faster until they get it down and memorized. So I love this little Right Start clock, but any clock would do. I really think it is very useful to have a hands-on clock that kids can play with, and you can set to different times, and they just really get that hands-on feel for it. So I highly recommend any sort of little hands-on clock that you can use to teach time with your kids. The next manipulative are these little centimeter cubes. I'll just open them up and get them out. These are each a centimeter on any side. So we use these for measuring. You can, we also use them for visual, like math problems when I'm teaching area and perimeter. These we use a lot for area and perimeter. So very useful little tools. And another use that I didn't foresee but makes total sense is my kids love to use these to build. And that actually is part of our math curriculum that we've used in the past. We've built small shapes with them, and I will build a shape like this, something like this, with little cubes on top. Let's see if I can get it nice and straight. So I'll build a little shape like this, and then I will require them to try to copy the same one, which, requires counting. They have to really pay attention to the number of cubes we use, and really just gets them focusing and paying attention. And then also, they love to get these out in their free time, or when we're done using them, they'll ask, can I build something, before we do the next thing? And sure, you can play with the math manipulatives. I don't have to be there and present. I will let them continue to explore these, even when we're done with the formal lesson. So I love these little things. The only thing is, if you got a toddler in the house, they could become dangerous. So moving along, these are really valuable, in my opinion. We have these number cards, again, Right Start cards, and there's multiples of the same number. And these are really useful for math games. We have the math games book. And these are just so, get away, my cat's messing with this stuff. These are just so versatile. If you're into playing math card games, you're going to be using number cards a lot. And I love that there's multiples of this number, because you're going to need multiples of the same number depending on what game you're using. And so we use these a lot for math games. But also, just to have a visual of the number too when they're learning them or trying to get a feel for it. I'm sorry if my camera is rocking. My cat, I should have put him up. He will not leave me alone right now and keeps jumping all over the table. The next thing is this huge gallon bag of these tiled squares. All these multicolored tiled squares. These are inch squares. So each side is an inch, and they're all different colors. We have red, green, blue, yellow, and we use these along with the Abacus. This and the Abacus gets used the most so far in our homeschool. We use these for counting practices. We use them for measuring. We use them to build shapes, again, to learn to do area and perimeter. Just a very versatile thing that you don't need these exact squares, but I do think a counting manipulative, like pieces of some sort, are really going to help with the hands-on factor with math. So any kind of counting manipulative, I think, is just wonderful to have on hand, and kids usually like playing with them and getting their hands on them and messing around and building with numbers and just exploring. So the next thing are these base 10 picture cards. And I really like these when we're trying to visualize bigger numbers. I'm trying to see if I can show you all of them. So this is 1,000, 1,000's cube, hundreds, tens, and let's see if I can find, and a ones. And I think these are just so fun to use with the kids. They really, it helps them visualize the larger numbers and see how many it really is. And when they're trying to build big numbers, so if I'm having them write down a number, it helps to have these out so they can really get a sense of how many tens are in the tens place and how many ones are in the ones place, and so on. And then we have a lot of these. So then when we have 10 of these, I'll say, well, what do? We trade, and we'll get a new 10 up here. And it just really helps them, I think, get a grasp on moving places when you have bigger numbers, and how you trade in once you have so many. So 10 of these, you know, and then you would have 100. It just helps them so much figure that kind of stuff out. So I really like using these. We don't use these all the time, but we use them quite often, especially when they're first trying to get a grasp on those larger numbers. The next thing are these little number cards. And what I like a lot about these is the quality of them. They're really thick. Like, I mean, thicker than cardstock. I think they're like plastic or something. But I like these just to get, again, visuals of numbers. And I like most that they are different sizes. So you build on top of the number you have. So I'll ask them to build a number. So say I want them to build 5,050, let's see, what's another ones? 5,058, and then they will just build that on top of each other and see how it builds together. So, and if they would try to put it here, I would say, well, no, this isn't a 500, this is 50, so this 5, you have to make it line up with the end, and then you know that this is a tens number. This is just 5 tens, not 500, which would require another 0, because you want it to reach the end. So just another really useful thing to have to get a grasp on those numbers. Let's see, I have a few more things. These I won't take out because I think everyone can tell what these are. These are just popsicle sticks. They call them tally sticks at Right Start. You don't need to buy these from any special company. You can find these at a craft store. But these are really nice. I guess I will get them out. I lied. I'm getting them out. I'll show you how we use them. So most of all, we use these, especially when they're first trying to get a grasp on numbers and counting by fives. We use them to do tallies. So groups of 5, and then say, this is a good visual, you know, to let them know 5 is here. I don't need to count them starting from the beginning. I know when I see these sticks arranged like this, with this one going across, that is 5 automatically. And then I'll add maybe 2 more and say, knowing this is 5, how many do we have now? So again, just visual clues to help kids just, or at least it helps my kids really get a grasp on things and not have to start over counting one by one over and over again. Let's see, what's the next thing? These little math manipulatives. What are these? What are these called? Shapes. We've got shapes here. What is it? 4D shapes. I'll just get all these out and show you all the different ones that we have. These come in handy when we're doing basically geometry stuff, which seems to be a hard thing personally for my kids to grasp, especially if we were just looking at flat lined paper, but seeing the shape themselves and being able to pull them out and count the sides and not just see them, say, like drawn on a paper like this, and you just kind of have to guess what's behind here based on what you see. These are really nice to help them just really understand, you know, because when they see this on a piece of paper, and they usually draw it like this, where you kind of see these three sides, and it implies that it's, you know, a 3D shape, but they can't actually count these other sides, so they just kind of have to figure it out, and it's really hard for my younger learners to figure that out, you know, and say, you know, I just see, they just say, I counted 3, that's all I see, you know, and they get really frustrated. So having these out to use as a reference kind of really helps with that and makes it a little bit easier on them and on me. Now the last manipulative I'm going to show you are these fraction cards, or fraction, I don't know, fraction manipulatives. Again, this thick paper, plastic, I don't know what this is, but I really like this, even though these pieces can get lost really easy. So I usually like to do these on a really flat surface, like in the middle of a room or on the table. And I have to be careful that the baby doesn't get them and strew them about. But for fractions, I think this manipulative is great because you can build it up and take it apart. And sorry, this doesn't fit again in the whole frame, but you have your one hole, and then this helps them get a real sense of how the fractions build on each other, because then next you would have all these 1/3 broken up into 3 pieces, of course, and how all these will fit into these 2 halves and then again into the whole. So when we're doing fractions, I have them get these out and mess with them a lot, and it really just helps solidify the whole practice that we're doing for that day with fractions. So I really enjoy these a lot as well. But again, this isn't the only manipulatives that we use. These are just my favorites to use and get out. Others we use less. They're valuable, but we just use them a lot less. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope that this was helpful for you, maybe to give you some ideas about maybe what you would want to buy for your homeschool. You know, and again, you don't have to get the exact things that I have. You can find a lot of these similar pieces in a lot of different places. It doesn't have to be from any one source. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again really soon.